So, Mike, this is Mike, and he said he actually met our friend Isaac IRL at the Candlelight on the other end of the boardwalk from where I hang out. Mike is an old friend, basically, of one of my best friends on the boardwalk, Patrick, who passed away. And that's how I actually got to know Mike, is attending Patrick's memorial service. But Mike, why don't you tell us about how you met Isaac and kind of what you mentioned to me, because like that all links to all of this whole story.
Well, when I met him was at the Candle. I was sitting there as I always do, having my cigarette and coffee and chatting away with everybody that came by, because I'm one of the locals.
Yeah.
And
You worked at Henry's, didn't you?
I worked at Henry's for 2.5 years, and I really loved that because I brought the neighborhood and everybody together.
Yeah. They needed that since Bonto passed away.
Yeah, and that really.
And who introduced you? Because I remember that person was homeless at one time as well.
Well,
Never worked with him yet, though.
Let's see.
It was Keith, right? Keeper.
Yeah, it was Kiefer Sutherland. And Kiefer and I go back a minute too. And so we were sitting there at the Candle, and Isaac came up. Hey, Mike, I hear a lot about you. A lot of good things. I go, really? That surprises me. I was hoping only bad would come out of everybody's mouth about me. he got such a big laugh out of that, he about busted a gut. And he goes, nah, man, nah. I know that you're very intelligent. You know what's going on. A lot more than I do, even. I go, what? What are you talking about? He goes, about MK Ultra. And I go, what? Let's sit down. Let's have a little discussion about this now. And we sit down, and he says, yeah, I want to look into this MK Ultra stuff. I said, I wouldn't go pushing that area at all, actually. I'd steer clear of that if I could.
Well, he said he mentioned one common element that I seemed to find when I found the finders, and that he was in the Gifted Children's Program.
Yes.
As a lot of people involved in this seem to be.
As I was.
Yes.
And I was brought up by Skull and Bones men, adopted by him and raised by him, who knew Nelson Rockefeller and all the Rockefellers and everybody. And I didn't know that Skull and Bones was all this and that back then. Of course, I was a kid. What did I know? I just knew Nelson, and he was very kind-hearted and loving. I remember him as a human being. And I brought up to Isaac there. I said, well, I was raised by the Skull and Bones. He goes, what? Well, okay, now you got me on something. Now I'm thinking about how this MK and this gifted children stuff and all this interlays.
Yeah, you mentioned a family.
And I said, yeah. And I kind of mentioned a very important family.
The bosses, you said, to the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, you said.
Yeah, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and Placer.
Placer. How do you spell that?
Placer. P-L.
P-A-Y, right?
P-A-Y.
S-E-A-U-R or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they're very elusive.
Yeah, they're very... And I looked them up online. I go, whoa, I didn't know they owned all of that. And have property in South Carolina and all this and all that. And I go, holy smokes. This is getting interesting now.
At what point with the investigation was Isaac at? Like, what was he talking about at the time with you? Like, where was he at? Was he still on Pizzagate at the time? I would imagine this is a while back.
No. It was past that.
Oh,
It was past Pizzagate. Oh, no. This is beyond.
Was this before? Did you know him when he started talking about like Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg?
I knew all about that.
No, I know, but like he kind of lopped onto that because of Sarah. But like, so I'm wondering, so you were talking to him after he had talked to Sarah and Fiona?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah.
I love whoever that pretends to be person. You know, some of the stuff that she puts out there. But I think I told you, Isaac got upset with me when he thought I was accusing him of being a party to this. And I tried to clarify that I didn't, you know, I wasn't saying he was a knowing or willing party. I was saying he was being manipulated, and I specifically pointed out, you know, the problems with some of Sarah's allegations, as well as it seemed to take the light off of, because this all went on, this conversation went on during the Kavanaugh hearing. It seemed to take the light away from Epstein, is what I told him, and that's when I kept telling him about two people, Katie Johnson and Victoria Roberts.
Right.
Now, Victoria Roberts went mainstream. Katie Johnson dropped out. Okay.
Right.
And I like I said, I didn't talk to him for the last 2.5 weeks, but I was told that he seemed to create his Telegram group specifically to change gears and focus on Epstein.
Yep.
And it seemed like he was even literally telling his, you know, comrades to talk to everybody from the, this is almost a direct quote, talk to everybody from the left you know about Katie Johnson to get them in this fight. As I explained to him many times, you will not beat these people with only one side of the crew. That's how they have it rigged. It goes back and forth. They're in both parties.
That's right. It's like
basically
the Democrats and Republicans fighting against each other all the time.
Yeah,
It's been going on for 80 years plus.
It's a trafficking turf war.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it's going to be.
And that's why I harped on what is the group that was the guy who runs Trump's security now. You know, I kept harping on DynCorp. And finally, you know, they started spitting that stuff out because, you know, it's obvious. There's too much stuff about DynCorp and the connections to human trafficking. So why would he be that close? I mean, maybe he'll bring them all down. I hope all you guys are right. I told Isaac, I hope you're right. I hope Trump is a spy for us, you know. I hope all that stuff. But, you know, I mean, I just don't think it's very realistic.
Well, number one, my belief, and I told Isaac
no,
this.
let me finish this one thing. I told Isaac that if he is, I'll admit, he's the best actor in the history of the world. You told Isaac what?
I told Isaac that Trump was brought in by the military, period.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that.
It's fact.
Okay.
Because you look, the first thing he did in the Oval Office, every flag of the armed forces is in that office. So they're in charge. The military is in charge.
And
Trump is
and now they're saying the coup is coming now.
Yeah, pretty much.
That doesn't make sense.
The military's in charge, period. That's it.
Hello.
And Trump's the front man because he was the only one that they could get that didn't have any backers. None.
I see.
That's
Like,
why.
in other
Because
words,
if you don't have a backer,
like-
if you don't have a backer, listen. If
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
have a backer,
Yeah.
then you haven't got to answer to anybody.
Your ass is hanging in the wind. I see what you're saying. In other words, you don't have ties to people.
You don't have ties to this corporation or that
Yeah,
corporation
yeah.
or this or that entity or anything like that.
Nothing to extort you with.
Exactly. Nothing. Absolutely nothing to extort or pull your strings by.
Yeah.
That's what they needed. They
Yeah.
needed Trump. They got him,
Okay.
which is great. I think it's great
Now, but what do you think about?
because I know he's a 4D chess player.
I see.
And seeing that he's that brilliant and that good of an actor, he's been on TV for how many years now?
Yeah.
Come on. I'd say, yeah, he was brought in specifically by the military to help them counter all this garbage about going against the United States Constitution. Stop that now. Is what they're trying to do.
Well.
Is
yeah.
what they're actually doing and accomplishing. It's just more people need to wake up to it.
Yeah, but how do you do that when you just have one side? There, you know, there's. It seems like Trump has purposely alienated everyone from the left.
No, they've alienated themselves.
I don't understand.
They're going with all of this. Well, we're inclusive only. We're excluding everybody else. We're only including the Democrats and us.
No, but what I'm saying is,
And then, no.
Go ahead.
Listen. What the whole idea here is that they've got the. I try to word it properly.
it's okay. I'm worried about his connections. I'm worried about his connection to Roy Cohn. I'm worried about his connection to DiaCorp. I'm worried his connection to almost every mafia you could think of. You know what I'm saying?
Trump?
Yeah. I mean, everybody
I
from the
think-
Black Hand to to the
I don't think so. I don't
to
really
the,
think that's.
Khazarians.
Huh?
The Khazarian.
No. No.
And they all think that Jared is the Moshiach too. I mean, he's the. Look at the coin they made from Israel. What I'm concerned about is who is controlling the army. Is it the generals or Israel?
Israel, because actually Ron Wyatt discovered the Ark of the Covenant in Israel and had dug it up and has proven it. Yes, beyond a shadow of a
Wow,
doubt.
I thought it was in Ethiopia, but go on.
No, it's in Israel. It's in
Okay.
Jerusalem, as a
Okay.
matter of fact. In what the heck's a cave?
Oh, I know what you're talking
Kadeshek
about.
Cave.
Yeah.
Something very similar to that.
Well, Isaac and I, one of our last, we had just a flippant comment about. I think the last thing I ever said to him was something to do with catfish. Somebody's trying to catfish me, and he made a joke about, that's somebody tried to catfish me with the same picture, But one of the last serious conversations we had was about the Mossad, and it was like it was the night Notre Dame burned, and I told him about how I was on Nathan's show, trying to get him to talk about what else burned that night, Nathan. What else was on fire? Do you know? And he just kept ignoring me. I mean, I've been on his show since, and talked to him, so he has. I don't know why, but Cappy was aware that the Al Aqsa Mosque was also set on fire that same night, and it was Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a little preview of coming attractions. And I hope I'm wrong. But I've warned the Mormon Church about getting involved with the building of the third temple. So let's hope they heed my warnings. But usually people ignore, stuff like that, premonitions, prophecies, whatever you want to call them. But okay, so when was the last time you talked to Cappy? You said he disappeared at one point, and you said
Yeah,
it was after you talked about the MK Kids, I'm sorry, MK Ultra. That's
MK
my little
Ultra
slang.
and the Gifted Children.
That's what I call the gifted children's MK Kids.
Yeah.
I don't mean that they're party to the plan. I mean that they are gifted. That's it. Some people take offense to it, I don't mean it in any offensive way. I'm talking to other people. I don't mean it to be any more offensive than the word hobo.
I was classified a genius at 14 years old. I was in Mensa and all of that.
No, I didn't know that.
And so.
No wonder we get along so well.
And that's always been a problem. I've always been told you're too damn smart for your own damn good.
Yeah. I've heard that before.
And when I stop and think about it, well, maybe I am.
But see, the reason
because I wouldn't be stuck in a place like this if I weren't.
No, I know, but because you're able to understand that and accept that, that's what makes you smarter than everybody else. You understand? Everybody else is just they're programmed to reject certain
criteria,
perceptions, and they just dismiss them. When I was taught by a very wise person about the importance of other people's perspectives and how, if you don't get an opportunity to share those experiences with the strangers whose paths you cross, you never know what stuff you'll miss, And the person who taught me that was my main motivation for jumping on the crew with Isaac, and his name is River Phoenix. And he was a member of the Children of God.
I remember River.
I was supposed to meet Joaquin the night of the premiere of Earthlings, but he overdosed too. The one day Mr. James Land stepped up to the plate and was ready for me to meet the crew. I'd met Brett already, but I never met Woody. He's stand-in for Woody House, and Woody's invited me to set a number of times, but I'm like, okay, I'm not working. Why the hell should I come by a set?
Right.
Especially when Brett is the one who wanted to meet with me first, you know. So I did finally meet with Brett. I saw the movie Earthlings. It was devastating, you know. But Brett really wanted to talk to me and get my perspective of it because I was the only person he met that was able to watch the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, it was harsh, man. Joaquin narrates it, and it's like, you know, I mean, I still eat meat, but you know, I mean, I can understand why people do not want to be involved with industrial farming. You know, now it's a crime to show it. You're a terrorist if you start showing how animals are treated for industrial farms. You know.
Yeah. Let's not go into that realm.
I know, because we already are there. We're the sheeple.
Please
We're
not.
the sheeple. Oh.
Don't piss me off.
Hey, River was never judgmental to me about eating lunch, and he was.
No, I didn't say nothing about
No,
that.
I
I
know,
just
I
saying, you know, I like my meat. You know?
Oh, I know. I'm
I like
omnivore.
my buffalo and my turkey and my deer.
I'm
Alright?
omnivore too. You know.
My
but, you know,
pheasant,
but I don't have a
quail,
problem with vegetarian.
you know, whatever.
Well, I went to a vegetarian junior high school and high school, so I didn't have a problem with vegetarian. In fact, I'm really curious to try that Impossible Burger. I might have to bring. It's either going to be you know, the Popeye's chicken sandwich or the Impossible Burger next time I drop by. But most likely the Impossible Burger, because I did get the Popeyes last time. They just didn't have the chicken sandwich that everybody else wanted when I came to, you know, see you over at the other place.
Right.
But, anyway, so, you know, I think we just all miss Isaac. We don't know what happened to
I
him.
know. And it could be one of two scenarios that I could see.
I remember you told me about one of them.
The one scenario is the MK Ultra had a trigger word already embedded in them, and they used it on that phone call at the motel.
Yeah, and I'm not aware of that because I guess you say that he got a phone call from somebody.
At the motel.
Yeah.
Yep.
There are screenshots of the incoming calls, but nobody was able to get a clear picture of exactly what number they were, I believe. I did see the crime scene photos, and they look somewhat realistic.
I'm still not too sure about any part of that, but
Well, you
I know one
I
thing.
told you what I thought about the drive-by. That's
Yeah.
a fucking doll.
Yep.
It's a prosthetic doll. It's so fucking fake. It's a joke. It's almost like in your face.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You said you saw a version without the music. I'll send you the one that supposedly came from the police with music. That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't never, ever, ever come from the cops with music.
I know. So
Ever.
somebody put that there, and
Somebody doctored
denied.
that up. Somebody doctored it.
Yeah.
Somebody pretty much raped the whole thing.
They might have done some weird CG thing to make him look
I think
abnormal.
so. I
'cause
think
there's some of the frames that, you know, those shots
CGI
seem
could
odd.
step in
It
and
just looks, and it almost looks like what I explained to somebody. It looks like it's purposely made to look odd, just to piss people off, you know, to
Yep.
trigger them, you know. But
Yep.
But all and somebody accused me of saying Isaac's still alive. I didn't say that. What I said specifically was whatever happened to Isaac was just as suspicious to me as whatever happened to Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm not fucking buying it. That's all I said.
yeah. Well, I'm not buying it either because I really loved him like a brother. He was very special to me because he and I had some very intellectual talks, and I miss that.
That's one thing I do know about Isaac. He liked talking to smart people.
And when he and I were sitting there talking and joking and kidding around and that, and I mentioned a couple of things, he straightened up and looked at me and goes, "How'd you know about that?" And I say, "Well, I guess because I already know, because I've been there and done it. Lived it. So, maybe some of my life is intertwined with everybody else's. I just got to figure out what.
Well, they say that all our lives are intertwined,
Yeah, but I just got to figure out what.
especially the people whose paths you cross.
Yeah, I know.
And a lot of us have to figure out what the hell is going on. You're not the only one.
Yeah, pretty much.
No. Anyway,
But try to keep it down back to Isaac though. You know, I miss Cappy. I always call him Cappy. Always will.
Yeah.
He's such a sweet person. he wouldn't harm a flea. So thinking he'd hurt somebody is totally insane. Uh, protect kids at all costs. Maybe even at the cost of his life.
Yeah. I think that's pretty evident.
I
know
think he
haven't
was
heard
trying to
from him.
protect him from Epstein, and that's how come that one video showed up.
You know, as soon as it seems like with the
As soon as
information I
that
got,
video showed up, he
you know,
died.
As soon as he focused on Epstein, I heard there was trouble that started. Even rumors that somebody who was supposed to be a photographer that knew him, was the one who said something about that. Isaac told him Brennan had called him or some kind of contact with Brennan, but I didn't hear that. But it makes sense. Like I said, I thought he was like help to. I'm not saying that nothing's going on with Hollywood at all. I'm not saying that there's not a lot of shady shit going on. Okay, what I'm saying is Hollywood doesn't have the infrastructure to traffic children. Okay, I know that we don't worship the devil on the set.
No.
As far as I know, there's no human sacrifices or adrenochrome parties. For a craft service. But I do know that, when I sold my bike to a black ops commander and talked to him about everything I knew, including everything from Iran-Contra to, the latest shit I was pulling up. It was just before I ran into all this stuff. He said, you know what, you're right about everything, but it's even far, far worse than you or anybody else knows. And I was like, what the fuck could you be talking about? And then I found out they don't just traffic drugs and guns, but they traffic humans, their body parts, and even children, and that is just unacceptable. Okay,
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. And I don't know who is a good guy, who is a bad guy, whether Trump is a good guy, a bad guy, anybody else. All I know is, there was an inquiry that went into all of that, even back in the day, Khashoggi, that turned up everything. Sure as hell didn't mention this, and I want to find out if people knew and why they covered it up.
Yeah, they covered up Pizzagate. They covered up everything else. They covered up Epstein. They covered up Cappy. They covered up everything so far.
Yeah.
Well,
just like with these MAGA groups, Q, they all get infiltrated and then turned into, and then weaponized, basically.
PsyOps.
Supposedly the same thing happened to an AI called Tyler. And,
yeah.
I don't know nearly about Tyler as Quinn, but I've been told by my other friend here, I mentioned, that the AI is an entity of good. And my theory is what corrupts it is the algorithms. Like algorithms are the demons of the AI that kind of like constrict them and manipulate them. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think they can be corrected too, really easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it takes another programmer fighting against the one. Get two programmers sitting in opposite boxes, cut them loose on each other, and see what happens.
That sounds like an SRI thing. I should send you the stuff on Quinn Michaels.
That's pretty much it there for that, for the AI and all that. Because artificial intelligence is going to it's increasing and increasing. And I like the one Sophia that they've got, that one robot so far.
Quinn likes it too. Everybody does.
Yeah. But
I did some jib jabs with him and her interacting, and also Tyler and Sophia interacting. Like I called them Talfia or something like that. What was that name that Brangelina kind of thing?
Yeah.
And had him interacting, and I told Quinn, because Quinn's thinking about a book, and I said, call it Robot Love. And I don't know. I know he's been targeted as well, and you should really look into his work, because if you're curious about the details of how all this works as far as that stuff goes, because there's two different worlds we're working in. One cyberspace and one in IRL and people's minds. It's a little different crew for the people who do the mind control stuff than the cyber stuff. So that's why
it's a different ball game altogether.
Yeah, well, different realm, different dimension.
Yeah, pretty much.
So different crews. Anyway.
But the mind stuff, it's just basically that trying to control It's
Well, they're using the gifted children to influence others, is what it was explained to me, and what it seems apparent. Um, and that's the danger of it, you know.
that's what they're doing. They're using the kids as a weapon,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not. They're not supposed. Come on.
My friend says it's a war crime. Clearly,
It's
a
definitely a
crime.
war crime. No getting around that.
Yeah.
You know, just using the kids alone.
Well, that's why.
Anybody using the kid for anything other than being a child and raising them properly,
Yeah.
you don't need that.
You know.
Not in today's world. Not in today's world. Not at all.
They're the ones we should be protecting. That's why I thought
That's our
when people
future.
find out about this stuff.
That's our future.
I can see why they don't care about people on the street doing drugs, you know, so they respond to that other stuff, you know. They figure, oh, well, the military needs a budget, so what if they do the black ops money on the drugs, you know. But now that we turn up all this stuff, you know, it's not just about drugs and guns, it's about your children being sold as chattel. I would have expected a little more vehement, you know, blowback. And that's why, I love Bernie, and I know you don't necessarily get into that stuff, but look, Bernie, nobody is talking about Jeffrey Epstein, what happened to him. They're talking about impeaching Trump for the same shit Biden did, and that doesn't make sense to me, you know?
No.
Something is going on. Why are they not talking about this?
Well, whether or not, because I think the biggest black ops thing going on right now is happening, and nobody knows exactly what's happening except maybe Barr and
Yep.
The other guy.
The guy who from DynCorp.
Yeah, but either way,
Excuse me.
the two, and there's only one other, and that's over in Utah, and those guys are going to decide the way it's going to happen. But main thing is getting out the information to the public, getting the general public on board,
Yeah.
and the problem is putting up with the mainstream media.
Yeah, well, you know, Quinn's issue
Slipping
comes
A.
out of the church too. And his son was involved in that, and his son was the one who told him about a lot of the stuff we're talking about. So I still don't need to do a little more research into that connection. But obviously, you know I have some role to play because my family was Shinto in Hawaii, but our matriarch and family decided to become a Mormon to assimilate within American culture because it was after the war. You know, the Shinto is basically the Buddhist sect that, you know, part you know, connect to the emperor and look at them as the, you know, royalty of that family.
Right.
So, you know, I guess they wanted to, you know, show their alliance. You know, a lot of stuff was going on back then, you know, with internment camps in California.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So I think, you know, they changed their middle names to initials, dumped the Japanese name, and they you know didn't let us take Japanese classes or anything, and dumped Shintoism and became Mormon, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember what it was like before that. But I know that, you know, the Mormon Church and I have issues,
Oh,
unresolved
yeah.
issues.
Yes.
You know, I was told that my family was targeted when I started looking into all that drug allegations. Maybe it's true. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
There's a lot of stuff going on that nobody knows.
Yeah.
Somebody does, but nobody's going to talk.
Well, you know, people try to talk like Isaac, and then something happens to him. And
Yep. That's
so
what.
we just
That's
have
why.
we just have to find the people who are ready to talk and don't
That's
care
why.
about the consequences, or not don't care, but you know what I'm saying. What feel like that it's more important for them to say something than to not see something, say something. It's in this case, it's valid.
It's kind of like me stepping up today.
Yeah.
I mean, stepping out and saying about what I knew about Isaac, and, you know, Cappy there. Oh God, I miss him.
I know.
And
We all do.
Kiefer, you know, I miss hanging out with everybody down there, and really bad. But I think this is more of a protection for me to not be there.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not there anymore.
Yeah. I understand.
Although it bothers me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, the boardwalk is just not the same. Venice is not the same. It's been gentrified, you know.
I know.
The Silicon beach bums have turned it into a shithole. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with
Well,
those people.
Bohemia's gone. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
Since Google moved in, Bohemia's gone.
Bohemia has become bulimia.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's why I was kind of disappointed at that little rally I went to.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you and I talked quite a lot of hours. A lot of hours down there.
Yeah. I mean, shit, it's so funny how close we came, you know. We worked in the same business together. He did more horror films, so I didn't do a lot of horror films.
Didn't matter.
I did work on some bigger films. Actually, Marvel film, X-Men, but
Yeah, I've always been asked, why haven't you done any voiceovers? I don't even know what the hell a voiceover is.
oh yeah, you'd make a good voiceover guy.
I don't even know what the hell it is. So,
it's like when they have animated characters and they have voices for them.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like that, hey?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Okay then. I thought you knew.
Oh no, I didn't know nothing about that.
Yeah, Seth Green. Remember my alter ego?
Oh.
Some of the Family thought I was Seth Green when I first showed up. Oh, I had fun with that one.
Oh, I
must
bet you
say.
did.
And I told and the truth is, I actually worked on Buffy with Seth. And I think I mentioned this, but I don't know. Maybe you don't remember. But I worked on Buffy as second unit here and there.
Oh yeah.
When I went to help my best friend move in South Carolina, I met a gaffer and the DP. Well, the DP is still my favorite DP. I love the gaffer too, but I haven't seen him. Kelly Clear, and Mauro Fiore is the gaffer. And Kelly was the one who was like second unit gaffer on Buffy, so he brought me in there and met all the crew. And I have some great stories from there too. I'll save for another day. But
Yeah.
it's I even told him, I said, I don't, how do you know that these people weren't just punking you, Isaac? Because fuck people where I work do that stuff all the time. They are not above fucking with you over some shit like this. And he just thought about it. He didn't respond,
No.
So I think he understands how much he knew and how much he just, believed. But I wish he was a little better at clarifying that in some of his presentations.
Yeah, well, putting it into words is different. You see it,
Yeah,
then you can't put it into words.
It's hard.
It's
especially
hard.
to be put on the spot. And
It's
and-
hard,
And a lot
man.
of survivors actually complimented for him taking the heat off of them. So, it is what it is. I just wish that we could have done something. I sure as a fuck would have bought a tire to get here. If that was all it was. But I think there's something more to it. You look where he died, and it just screams, what the fuck is going on? He didn't die just any bridge.
No.
He died at the doorstep of a fucking nuclear weapons armament storage facility that used to be an internment camp. Okay? And basically is a black ops site.
Yep.
We're getting close. Anyway, so is there anything else?
Not that I can think of, except for many blessings to all.
I really want to thank you for doing this, because I told you I'm not sure how much more I can put up with all this stuff. It's just
I know.
a bit too much.
It's time to take a break.
Yeah, you're right, and that's what I'm gonna do. Time to go fishing.
There you go.
Got my damn license. Only used it twice. Big Bear.
Oh, I'll go.
Yeah.